Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Um, yes, I hope you're having a fantastic day. I really, really, really hope. And I know that you're having a fantastic day. What is this great music? Said somebody. You must be new here. The great music is only the best music ever and the best intro music that the world has ever seen. It is called, the name of of the soundtrack is, that's it. That's it. How is everybody doing? Everything okay? Everything sounds good? Everything looks good? I bet, I believe. So, today we want to see if we are going to war or not. Because everybody wants to go to war. Yeah, everybody wants to go to war. Everybody just wants to go to war because war is fun. War is cool. War is a lot of fun. It's a lot of enjoyment. Lots of people enjoy it. I know. But hey, yesterday we had news that apparently a Greek Orthodox church was hit and collapsed in Gaza. I initially shared the news and kind of said, hey, this is very reckless. Turns out that the church wasn't really hit. And the IDF also acknowledged and said, yes, we can confirm that an airstrike from our side did cause damage to the church. What seems to be the case, however, is that the church did not collapse. There was apparently an internal collapse or something inside the church while the church is still standing, and the church was not the target. Still, could be considered worrisome by some people. But I want to bring on the screen quickly the impact side of the airstrike to just compare it to what happened in the hospital parking lot. So here is the impact side. This is apparently a building next to the church that was hit in an airstrike. And you see the impact side here. You see the crater. You see how terrible things look. And let us compare that to the hospital side. The hospital side. So much stuff is happening here. Hospital side. Let's compare it to this one. See, this is the hospital parking lot where apparently an explosion happened 3 days ago, and this is the impact side of the house next to the church that was hit. This was an actual airstrike, and the IDF said yes, this was an airstrike by us, but we did not mean to or intend to cause any damage to the church. This here is not an Israeli airstrike. And the IDF said, we have nothing to do with this at all. We had nothing to do with this. We didn't do any airstrike in this place. And it turns out, it's like, I don't know, expert opinions, everything turns out that this was definitely not an Israeli airstrike. This was from a missile. And yet, all those who incited fear and violence as a response to Israel allegedly bombing a hospital did not backtrack, did not take it back, didn't do anything. So here we have from these open source intelligence analysis guys, the Greek Orthodox Church of Saint Porphyrius, one of the oldest churches in the world, having opened in 1150, which was claimed to have been targeted last night by an Israeli airstrike, now appears to have only suffered moderate damage and was not the actual target of the strike. The target building was a location next to the church complex, which partially collapsed onto a section of the church following the attack. I don't know. As soon as I saw the news yesterday that a church was targeted, I kind of thought, okay, this is kind of bad. You know, I can't defend it. I can't stand for that. I'm not sure. I feel kind of conflicted about this whole thing at the moment. On one hand, it is a building that has nothing to do with the conflict at all, and even if the target is something that is next to the building, it would be, of course, expected that there would be harm to the church building. Apparently, there was an internal collapse. Nothing can be seen on the outside. But yeah, I don't know. It's a war going on. Evacuation was demanded, requested, announced, and so on. A few people died here in this church building who sought safety in here. Shouldn't be happening. Should really not be happening. So yeah, I feel conflicted about that. Let me know what you guys say. Let me know what you guys say. AV8R said AP. That's true. I'm totally AP. Lots of stuff is going on. So Joe Biden went to Israel, met with Netanyahu, issued or reassured Israel that America supports Israel's right to defend themselves. For those who missed it, yesterday there was a vote in the Senate which was on supporting Israel or not, and that passed with 97-0. The resolution to support Israel. America is now unequivocally on the side of Israel, supports Israel in this conflict, and says Israel has the right to defend itself, while also delivering humanitarian aid to Gaza. Nick said GIMP. This is the stuff that Mohammed Hijab taught everyone here on this channel. Eric and Halpkine said stay away from Islam. I entirely agree with that. I agree with it completely.
We're proud of that.
Yeah. Mohammed Hijab's man boobs said, obviously AI generated. Definitely. Everything is AI generated nowadays. Everything is always AI generated.
It is a metaphysical matter.
Yes. So this is what happened. America is on the side of Israel. Well announced. And there is a thing. Like yesterday, Joe Biden went over and met with Netanyahu, hugged him, reassured that America is ready to help Israel and to defend Israel, and basically did a little show of diplomatic friendship. Plus, America also deployed ships in the region, and a lot of people have been very critical of the current Biden administration, and I am too. And I think, in all honesty, I don't think that Joe Biden should be the president. And I'm not saying that because I love Trump. I don't, actually. I'm saying that because it looks very, I don't know, he's not strong anymore. I mean, compare an old speech of Joe Biden to his current speeches. There are speeches of Joe Biden from the past, from decades ago, where he's yelling, and he is determining the mood of the room. He's like a lion or something. And nowadays he just looks like a confused old grandpa. It's weird. It's weird. Let's see. Let's see. I mean, let's see how.
You've said questions about your age are legitimate, and your response is always, just watch me. But the country is watching, and recent polling shows that 70% of Americans, including a majority of Democrats, believe you shouldn't run again. What do you say to them? What do you say to those Americans who are watching and aren't convinced?
I noticed the polling data I keep hearing about is that I'm between 42 and 46% favorable rating, et cetera. And but everybody running for re-election in this time has been in the same position. There's nothing new about that. You're making it sound like Biden's really underwater.
Anyway, I can't find the old footage now. But yeah, just look at the old videos of Joe Biden screaming and yelling and saying, "We did this, it's ours. If it wasn't without America, the world would be this and this and that." And nowadays it's just like, it's like there should be an age limit, right? There should be an age limit, probably. I don't know. Like, I would like it. I would love it. I would find it lovely if Joe Biden was my grandpa. I would go to him and have conversations with him, joke around with him, talk about old times, give him a hug and say, hey, I'm here, soon you'll die. I'm here, But president, I don't know. The IDF just published a video where they said we fight for our existence. Let's see.
We are the Israel Defense Forces. Defense is the essence of what we do. Defense of our homes, our people, and our very existence. Defense is about prevention. It's about ensuring that the atrocities of October 7th never happen again. Our soldiers, our reservists, we're real people. Lawyers, electricians, school teachers, sons, daughters, fathers, and mothers. Many of us have lost our loved ones. We've left it all behind to fight on the front lines and defend our families at home, because we have no choice but to fight for our safety and very existence. We will defeat Hamas on the battlefield and help southern Israel flourish again.
Okay, well, I expected information or something, but there was no information here. Just an emotional message. All right. Message to the Jewish people turns water pipes into rockets. We already know that. True face of Hamas. We know that. Everything. We know that. Graphic footage, which is now viewed by 6 million people, or which has 6 million views, which really turns people's stomachs and makes them feel less supportive of Hamas, which is good. I saw a report which was describing what the outcome of this conflict would be after Israel is done with Hamas, and I want to kind of address that. So, Financial Times posted it. New York Post posted it. Let's have a look here. So Israel is planning to establish a massive demilitarized zone along length of border fence, says a report. And so lots of people are always talking about what the solution to this conflict is. And I asked the very same question, right? So people often complain. They say, this response is disproportionate, it's cruel, it's this and that. Yeah, we get it. But what is the solution? Because Israel occupied Gaza as a result of Arab aggressions long time ago, then occupied it for decades, finally wanted to give it away, didn't work, decided to give it partial freedom to work toward a two-state solution, but it doesn't work. There is a fence in between. Hamas rules. Hamas doesn't believe Israel should exist, so they keep attacking Israel from here and pouring through. Apparently, the current plan, as some people already thought, is to build a buffer zone between Gaza and Israel, a demilitarized zone, possibly demilitarize Gaza altogether, and especially get rid of Hamas. So their plan is currently, as it seems, as the report suggests, to go into Gaza, take out Hamas entirely, which I don't know if that is even possible, right? How is that even possible? Bring hostages back alive, go in there and do a demilitarized zone. So what would happen is, as you can see here, we have Israel here, we have the Gaza Strip here. What they would probably do is to establish a thick zone here between Israel and Gaza. I would assume that the loss of usable land would be exclusively on the Gazan side, because actions have consequences. So there would be a gap installed between Gaza and Israel, so that it would be near impossible for Gazans to ever infiltrate, to get through, to storm through, and all of that. There, of course, is still the possibility of rockets being fired from Gaza into Israel, which has been happening forever. Not sure what exactly will happen with that. But I think one of the aims is, wait a minute, evacuate their homes, hostages taken, Israel troops entering kibbutz, Israel tanks mustered in the north. I think that it was said, let's see, Israel is planning to establish a broad demilitarized zone surrounding the Gaza Strip after completing its impending ground assault in the Palestinian territory and eradicating Hamas. The expected demilitarized zone would extend the length of the 40-mile fence already encircling the Gaza Strip and would enhance the elaborate defensive measures already in place. That border fence area that has an electronic border fence that has sensors on it, that has cameras on it, the wall behind it that drops down deep into the ground to protect against tunnels, and a small buffer zone behind that. That's going to become much, much wider. A zone along the whole 67 kilometer of the border fence, we were told a zone that no one will be allowed to go into. No one will be allowed to go into. This is quite a common thing that has been used in some conflicts around the world, including, for example, between North Korea and South Korea. But I think Israel also plans to disengage completely after this from Gaza, which to me sounds a little bit like a compromise. But I guess it's cool. I don't know. Let's see if I can find anything else on this. It's not that you started from the inside Gaza Strip as a buffer zone. You started on the Israeli side, 100 meters. We understand it was a mistake. It has to be fixed. On the Gaza Strip, all along, we will have a margin, and they will not be able to get in. It will be a fire zone. And no matter who you are, you will never be able to come close to the Israeli border. So that's a little bit that's it's dangerous. It will be a zone that is demilitarized, that is a buffer, and as soon as anybody tries to cross that zone, they will be shot at. There will be no way of getting in there and, being left alone. That's what it looks like. Obviously, Gaza tomorrow will not look anything like it did before October 7. Hamas will be dismantled, as will Islamic Jihad, and they won't be able to attack Israel again, said another Israeli official. I don't know. Let's see how it turns out. Oh, I was going to say, so lots of people are critical of the Biden administration, probably rightly so. But I saw some analysts point out, and I thought the same thing, that the Biden visit to Israel was actually probably a very important move. And without even doing anything, it did something significant, which is, in the whole Ukraine-Russia conflict, it is kind of a, it looks like a proxy war. America doesn't want to get involved directly and so on. But with the Israel conflict, America immediately deployed ships and said, these could be used to deploy soldiers. And Biden directly went there himself. And it gave Iran, Hezbollah, Lebanon, Russia, and others the message that that if actually a war broke out, America would directly, instead of proxy, America would directly get involved and defend and support Israel, which sends those states the message, oh, okay, we can't just do whatever we want here in this case. If we do get involved, this will be a very, very big and very messed up conflict, a very messed up war. So we should probably not do that. And I hope that works. I really hope that works. Nobody wants to have a major world war here, I think. I think. Does anybody want war? Let's see, who wants war? Should there be war? Yes or no? What a stupid question. What else is going on? U.S. Congressman Jim Jordan loses third stage. I don't care. Western media promoting displacement theory. airstrikes. Israeli defense minister says that after airstrikes, a ground operation and elimination of resistance, his country will seek the creation of a new security regime in the Gaza Strip. Oh, okay. So it's not a complete disengagement. By the way, Palestinian Health Ministry says Gaza death toll has risen to 4,137. I will always take the numbers that the Palestinian Health Ministry gives with a little bit skepticism. In the end, we were told about the other day that the hospital was bombed and 500 people died at least. Then it turned into at least 400. Then it turned into between 200 and 300. Then it turned into somewhere between 100 and 300. Now, expert analysts say it's probably around 50 people dead. And we still don't have any bodies. And I said it yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised if there were only like 10 people dead from that incident, which in the end turned out was not even an Israeli airstrike. So anything that these guys tell me about the number of dead people, I will approach with complete skepticism and not accept until I see bodies or I see third-party confirmations. Israeli defense minister says that after airstrikes, I already just read that. But what it looks like here is that so Israel, after they are finished with this war and with this ground operation, will not completely disengage from Gaza. What they will do is to take control of the Gaza Strip and install a governing body that will not allow terrorism to exist. So what that means is that the conflict and the control over Gaza will continue and will go on, which is just a sad situation. Sad situation. I wish there was a different solution, right? But Israel said they are definitely not interested in actually directly occupying Gaza. Nobody wants to occupy Gaza. You have to be crazy to occupy Gaza. Nobody wants that. It's a mess. Absolute mess. Egypt's foreign ministry criticizes Western media for promoting the displacement scenario and holding Egypt responsible for the border crossing closure despite IDF targeted attacks. We already know that Egypt doesn't want to take in refugees from the Palestinian regions. And people ask why. And we talked about this yesterday during our stream with David Wood. Here is the issue. Why do neighboring Arab countries and Muslim countries not accept Palestinian refugees? What they do is they tell each other, so the Arab countries and the Muslim countries tell each other not to accept Palestinian refugees, not to take people out of the Palestinian territories, because they say if we do that, then we are possibly causing the land to be lost to Israel, and the refugees would eventually never be able to go back to their places. It would be lost forever. So instead of saving those people that they so much care about, what they say is, okay, we can't take those people out because there is something greater here at play, which is Palestine. We want it to be taken by Arabs, by Muslims. It is Islamic land. If we take those people out, then we will lose the land to the Jews, to the Zionists. And of course, there is a whole moral dilemma, a moral question, which I think, to be honest, is not very hard for the Muslim nations. They don't really care about the lives of the Palestinians. What they care about is the greater cause. What they care about is whether the land will be lost to the Zionists or will stay Islamic. And collectively, the Islamic nations, the Muslim nations, the Arab nations, what they want is that that land stays an Islamic land. It is rightfully Islamic land. It will never belong to the Jews. It will never belong to the Zionists, which is why we shouldn't save those people. We shouldn't save those victims. We shouldn't save their lives. We should leave them there. Otherwise, we will lose that land altogether. So basically, you could say that the Palestinian Arabs are kind of like pawns for the Arab Muslim nations, for the greater good, because the lives don't really matter. Reminds me of what some dictators would say, like what Hitler would say, which is that the life of the individual is nothing compared to the greater cause. Yeah, that's it. That's it, pretty much. Kerrigan Killer said, Jordan about to go to civil war. What do you mean? What do you mean? What's happening in Jordan? Jordan. What's happening in Jordan? I hate this, man. I hate the internet sometimes when you when you search for Jordan and it's all like Nike Air Jordan department, kids department, women's, boys. Like, why can't I just search for the country? You know. Yeah, that's sometimes I hate that. I don't care about shoes right now. Yeah, whatever. Let's see what our most reliable source, CNN, says. Another plane carrying World Health Organization medical supplies for Gaza lands in Egypt, close to Rafah border crossing. Humanitarian aid is brought into Gaza. UN chief who said dead people are unacceptable says 8 trucks at Rafah border crossing are the difference between life and death. Wow, this guy's so smart, man. Wow. This guy is like the smartest person I've ever heard of, ever seen. The other day he said the deaths as a result of the airstrike are unacceptable. And I thought, wow. Amazing insight. Could have never thought of that. People dying is unacceptable. Wow, that's brilliant, man. Amazing. Fantastic insight. High, super intelligent guy. And now he says that that humanitarian aids, so supplies, including food and water and all of that, are the difference between life and death. This is just brilliant, man. This guy is genius. Big genius.
We're proud of that.
Yeah. Biden administration requests $105 billion for Ukraine, Israel, humanitarian and security assistance. I see a lot of people already get angry about this. And we sent $7 billion for the Indo-Pacific and Taiwan conflict. You know, I understand Ukraine. I completely understand Israel. I don't exactly understand. I don't know. Maybe I'm being kind of careless here in comparison. Maybe I'm just disregarding or minimizing the issue of Taiwan because it's far away or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a racist. But Taiwan is under threat by China and only aligned themselves with the West very long time ago for their own survival. I'm not entirely sure why we have to necessarily, stand with Taiwan here and make sure that we are completely on their side. I don't know, call me whatever, but I just don't understand it right now. Okay, I'm just conflicted about it. That's it. About 100,000 civilians have been evacuated from their homes, Israel says. Northern and southern Israel. Okay, so Israel is evacuating people from the northern Israel, from the border with Lebanon, to place them somewhere else because there are attacks coming from South Lebanon. There is a possibility of a war breaking out between Lebanon and Israel, a possibility of having large escalations of fighting between Israel and Hezbollah, which is in southern Lebanon. So Israel has been telling people in the northern part of Israel, close to the border, to evacuate and to, go somewhere else. And they are actively helping in that. So that's not necessarily a good sign for peace, in case you can't tell. It's probably hard to tell. Yeah. Yes. Taiwan had major reforms and is a democracy now, plus computer chips. I know. I get it. Taiwan is the capitalist China, the Western China, westernized China, the cultured China, the educated China, the compassionate China, and all of that, and has deals and all of that with America. Yeah, I guess I get it. And with the West, I guess I get it. I guess I understand it. But let's say if tomorrow China suddenly invaded Taiwan, right? Because they have been, that they have been floating that idea for a long time. That the threat has always existed because China, that large, huge chunk of land in the world, is so hungry that they will not be satisfied until they absorb every single piece that at some point was part of China or could be considered part of China, or that is somehow Chinese culture. If somehow they tomorrow said, you know what, guys, we don't care, and they invaded Taiwan and took it over immediately, and it wouldn't take very long for China to probably take control of all of Taiwan. Would it really be vital? Would it really be necessary for America, for example, to step in and to possibly cause a major escalation from that conflict? Is it really that big? I don't know. I don't have a firm opinion on this, so I would have to be informed. Would have to have some thoughts exchanged with other people. Chinese nationalists don't consider Taiwan as separate, by the way. I know, I'm aware. And China has this this idea of what's it called, irredentism, which is everything that was once part of us will be part of us again. It's a very dumb and sick way of thinking. I don't understand it. I don't understand how humans actually justify these ideas. I don't understand. I don't understand the human struggle to actually fight for dominance over land, which they don't even really want, where they don't even want to live. Which, by the way, reminds me of a certain guy that my friend Erdogan, who is the Turkish president, he is very, 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 very harsh on Israel right now. Oh, look, he made a new tweet. What is this, man? Who in the world writes this stuff down? I'm not going to translate the whole thing, so let's see what Google Translate does for us. Expanding attacks in Gaza will bring nothing but more pain, death, and tears. By murdering children, women, and civilians, it is clear that security cannot be ensured by bombing hospitals. Again, he is reiterating the lie after all of the evidence. Schools, mosques, and churches. He is also taking advantage of this recent thing to fuel hatred among Christians against Israel. You cannot be worshipped through oppression. Is that what it says? You can't have obedience through oppression. Instead of turning back from its mistake and acting with reason, the Israeli administration is acting like an organization with the instigation of non-regional actors. Humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza as soon as possible. Never expand the scope of its attacks. You know what's very funny about this to me? Turkey has been waging a war, an internal war, with in the Kurdish populated, Kurdish inhabited southeast of Turkey, also known as Kurdistan or northern Kurdistan, for decades now. So this is what is considered historic Kurdistan, a region where Kurdish people of Kurdish ethnic origin have lived for ever, before Turks even arrived. But Turkey controls this region, and today they are fighting this part of the country and have been doing so violently for a very, very long time. And the funny thing about this is that Turkey has actually no need for this at all. And if you ask the average Turk, Turks don't like this place. Nobody goes there. The average Turk doesn't really like Kurdish people. They don't want it. They don't like it. When you mention this region, when you mention places over here, they feel disgusted or repulsed by it and all of that. But they think they must at all cost keep this under Turkish control. It must be part of Turkey. It cannot be divided. Never, never. And the funny thing is, why exactly? Why? What's the point? Is it a matter of survival? Is it a matter of guaranteeing the survival of Turkish people? No, has nothing to do with it at all. If they were to from today to tomorrow, if they were to release this place as an independent Kurdistan, nothing at all would change. The Turkish survival would in no way change at all. Turks would have no issue, right? Nothing would change. Nothing would change at all. It wouldn't do anything to Turkey or to Turks. But they still want to keep this part for the mere fact that the Ottoman Empire had control over this, and Turkey has control over this, and it is part of Turkish nationalism and national integrity to keep this as part of Turkey. Turkey is now criticizing Israel. Erdogan is harshly criticizing Israel for defending themselves and keeping a region occupied that is that attacks Israel all the time. An autonomous region, by the way, which is supposed to work toward independence. Erdogan harshly criticizes Israel while at the same time keeping control over this region, which belongs to ethnic Kurdish people and has belonged to them forever, and bombing the fighters who are there, who, to be honest, apply guerrilla and terrorist methods for their struggle, bombs them, and now even goes into Syria to bomb Kurdish regions. So who is Turkey? Who is Erdogan to say anything about this at all? It's such hypocrisy. It's incredible. Such hypocrisy. They speak of ethnic integrity and self-determination, and then they have actual strict authoritarian control over the Kurdish regions. By the way, in Turkey, for half the life of Turkey, the Kurdish people were not allowed to even speak their own language properly. They weren't allowed to speak their own language in public buildings and schools. They weren't allowed to create Kurdish schools, give Kurdish education, and so on. It's not even comparable to the treatment of Arabs in Israel, for example, who have very much equal rights and had it for a long time. It's such hypocrisy, and that's just mind. I don't know if it's actually mind-boggling, because it is just, I guess, the human desire for power, the blindness of ruling over something without reason, without any justification. It's dumb. Free Constantinople said, I'm on Targaryen. Yeah, I don't know about that. Shepherd's Lamb said, did you live in Turkey or grew up in Germany? I was born in Germany, but I also lived in Turkey for 10 years or something like that. Yeah, thank you. Mariam of Shamal said, Kurds have never had a country. There's a reason for that. Stan is taken from the Persian language, and all of the region used to be part of Iran. Yeah, but the issue is Kurdish people are actually, legitimately a recognized separate group, ethnically and linguistically, within the Persian family. They are recognized as such. They have their own language and their own languages and dialects, which are part of the Persian language, and they were there. And we have historical records of Kurdish people, of Kurdish states, yes, minor Kurdish states, and also Kurdish rulers. For example, Saladin, one of the great guy who fought the Crusaders and who took Jerusalem for the Muslim Empire. He was Kurdish. He was of Kurdish origin, and so on. Yeah, I ate turkey for breakfast, bro," said Jonathan Turrell. Yeah, I think, and I, as somebody who believes in peace, I always thought I have a perfect idea for Turkey to resolve this conflict, and they never thought about this. So what I thought is, why don't they just make peace and turn Turkey into a Turkish Kurdish country, and combine the names Turk and Kurd, and instead of Turkey or Kurdistan, they just name it Turdistan. That's my solution. That's my peace. That's my peaceful resolution for this conflict. So Turdistan, from Turk and Kurd, would be a perfect solution, and the fighting would be done forever. Turdistan, it would be perfect. They never thought about this. Nobody asked me. They didn't ask me, and
Group.
that's why they still deal with the conflict.
We'd love to know the insight of this group and how they were able to pull off what they did October 7th. First,
this is our hero again, Mossab Hassan Youssef, who is the leader of Hamas, founder, Hamas co-founder, and Hamas leader.
Can you tell the audience your background, people that didn't read your book?
I was born at the heart of Hamas leadership, and I know them very well. They don't care for the Palestinian people. They don't regard the human life. And I saw their brutality firsthand back in 1990.
Beat Money said Turkey changed its name to Turkey. Is it okay to still call it Turkey? I don't really care what they changed it to. I just call it Turkey. That's a very dumb, typical nationalistic attitude of, no, we don't want to be called Turkey. It should be Turkey. I don't care. You can call yourself that. I'll just, we speak the English language, right? Why would you have to do that? I don't care. It's Turkey.
96, when I spent about a year and a half in Megiddo prison, they killed so many Palestinian people at that time. And this is when I decided that I cannot be together with this movement. In fact, I asked myself a question: what if they become a ruling party at some point? What will they do? If they succeed in destroying Israel and building their state, what will they do? They will kill our people. And this was the first question, that actually I had to be honest with myself. Even though Hamas gave me advantages, I was like a prince in that world, but I did not like them, and I turned against even my own blood, because this is how much I did not like Hamas.
Mariam, not sure. Not sure how you are. Oh, you are from Iran? I see. That makes sense. Okay. I know, even if when I speak to Turkish people who are, very secular and very detached from the whole nationalist thing, they feel very strongly about this Kurd issue. But you said y'all don't know shit about the Kurds, apparently. I actually do. I spent a lot of time, studying it. Because I had a communist past in Turkey, where I was between supporting a socialist state and a Kurdish independence and stuff like that. So back then I spent a lot of time reading a bunch of books on it, and then actually looking into the academic research. And it is, Kurdish people are a separate people, and they did have their own states in the past. They indeed did. Yeah.
And today, 25 years later, they are the rulers of Gaza, and we see what they are capable of doing.
We saw what happened October 7th. We saw them do what they did to Holocaust victims. They have now over 200 hostages, murdered babies in their cribs, and we see the horror of what they're capable of. Now they've retreated back to Gaza, and a ground incursion is about to happen. Would you recommend Israel do this? And what will they find when they go in?
Okay, first of all, we need to evacuate civilians as much as we can. You know, this is an ugly war, and Israel did not start it. Hamas did. First of all, we need to encourage civilians to go into Egypt, possibly women and children, maybe men over 50 years old. These need to get out of the picture. You know, then the strip need to be cut two pieces, north and south, two parts. The northern part, this is where most of the tunnels are. We need to have a solid siege, okay, for long enough to deplete the enemy and to starve them.
This is exactly what Israel also said. That the northern part is the main problem. The northern part is the main problem. It's and it's full of tunnels for infiltration, for hiding, for operations by Hamas, and that bombing the region turns the tunnels into mass graves for Hamas. They hide there, operate there. And then they blame Israel for getting bombed in tunnels under populations and all that.
After that, we may need to explore using gas. This is like, sounds horrible, but I don't see any other option. The tunnels are interconnected, and gas could be one of the solutions, but this has to be in the right time. We cannot just rush into Gaza. You know, there is no modern army that is prepared for this type of war.
Wait. Did you just say gas? Wait.
And most importantly, we need to get the civilians out of the picture.
Okay, so yeah, this sounds very rough, right? Sounds very rough. But what he's talking about is to gas the tunnels, which are used exclusively for terroristic purposes. And gas, of course, doesn't have to mean that it's gas that is for mass killing or anything, just to take them out. I don't know.
As long as there are civilians there,
Right.
Then the operation might be incomplete.
But Musab, you also say it's almost impossible for us to give aid to the Gaza Strip. $100 million we're about to give them and keep it away from Hamas. Don't you agree that that can't work?
Look, after we destroy the tunnels, we need to finish Hamas rule in Gaza Strip. This is priority number one. Then we need to replace the regime. Could be the Palestinian Authority, could be the Egyptian government, could be Arab League force. We need to replace their rule in Gaza. After that, we can talk about aid. But as of now, sending any aid is a mistake.
So you also believe that this isn't about the Palestinians fighting for their rights.
Remember, this guy is not just some guy who is who just seems to have some idea about the conflict, who was on the Israeli side or anything. This guy was raised by one of the Hamas co-founders. He was raised inside the movement. He was, and he spent many years as a member of Hamas, deep inside Hamas, partaking in their operations. And the funny thing is, his story is that he grows up. His father goes to jail, to prison, over and over and over and over again. He does a little project with a cousin of his, where he tries to buy guns because he wants to allegedly, use them for self-defense, but also wants to carry out an attack because he's raised with the idea that they are only in existence to fight the Zionists. He gets guns. Somehow the gun purchase is intercepted by Israel because his cousin speaks to him on the phone about the guns. Israeli intelligence catches it. They come and arrest him, put him in jail, question him for a long time, where he endures some serious torture, as he describes it. And eventually, he admits that he was indeed planning on using guns, and he did indeed purchase guns and so on. And he lies a little bit about it, which he also admits in his book. So the Israeli Defense Forces, or the Israeli intelligence, offers him a deal. They say, "You seem like a good guy. How about we get you out of here and you just give us some intelligence?" And initially he agrees to it just for his own safety, thinking, I will deceive them, I will get out, and I will take revenge, I will kill these people. But they say, you can't get out immediately. It would be too suspicious. First off, we will put you in a prison for a little bit, and then as soon as we have an opportunity for a prison exchange, we will take you out of that prison. So he goes to the prison and he spends time among Hamas and other organizations like Hamas, PFLP, PLO, Lions Den, Islamic Jihad, and all of these different groups. And while he's in there, when he gets in there, he's still pro Hamas. But when he gets in there and he spends time in there, things start turning around very radically, because in prison he begins experiencing the messed up way that Hamas actually operates, where they have a very paranoid way of trying to find spies or rats, informants among them. So they just he describes how they take random people, including some people who are just outcasts or who are mentally deficient and stuff like that, and they say, this guy is clearly determined to be a spy. He gives information to Israel, so they designate him as a spy and then begin torturing him even inside the prison. And he describes the stuff that Hamas does, like they take these alleged informants and torture them, including one of the most prominent tortures he describes is how they take, as far as I remember, they stab they stab their fingers below their fingernails and torture them and get all kinds of information out of them. And this guy is actually hired to write down all of the confessions that these alleged spies give, and he describes how those spies under torture say all kinds of messed up things, like I don't know, I am an informant, I did this and this for Israel. Also, I raped my own children, I had sex with my neighbor, I had this and that and that and that and this and this. Completely messed up things that clearly cannot be true. And it can't be true that every single person who is an informant gives out this kind of information. And to him, it begins to look like, wait a minute, this is not true stuff. It looks like this is just these are just things that Hamas tries to get out for their own pleasure or for their own benefit. And they take these admissions, these pieces of information, and send them to these alleged informants, relatives, and everyone else who knows them. And then those alleged informants are publicly humiliated, shunned, and their life is over. They are tortured, brought into horrible situations, and so that's where he slowly starts realizing, wait a minute, so these are the good guys. These are the good guys who just torture their own people under false pretenses of being informants and stuff like that, and that's only the start of it. Then he notices complete corruption, power struggle, mistreatment of innocent people, rationalizing the killing of civilians as like there are no civilians, everybody is an occupier, and so on. And over time, he slowly distances himself from Hamas. He also converts to Christianity along the way, and he starts working for the Israeli intelligence agency and or the Israeli security agency, and provides information to them about planned Hamas attacks and starts preventing terrorist attacks and things like that. But I know this guy's a real hero. Seriously.
Rights and their sovereignty. What is the real mission of Hamas, and what do they really think of the Palestinian people?
You know, Hamas is not a national movement. Hamas is a religious movement with a goal to establish an Islamic state.
Yes.
They don't care for nationalism. Actually, they are against nationalism.
Yes.
With that said, my understanding that they are using the Palestinian cause only to achieve their goals, so the long-term goal, you know, transforming the Middle East and the world into an Islamic state. This is Hamas agendas, and they are not hidden, by the way. So Hamas is serving foreign agendas. We're talking about Iran, and we're talking about Russia lately.
This is accurate. Expose Islam said the story of informant is used to detain anyone who criticizes them. Yeah, I failed to mention that, but that is also part of what he says. Anyone who is critical or who seems to be slightly a danger to the Hamas guys who are in power, and often it's not even about posing a danger to the ideals and goals of Hamas. It's just about power struggle and things like that internally. So they just established a completely corrupt system inside Hamas where they just accuse anyone whom they don't like or whom they consider a threat to themselves an informant, and then begin the torture and everything else. It's really, 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 really messed up. And by the way, that's not the end of it. They also engage in intimidating, threatening the entire population and things like that. He describes how half of the Palestinian population always feels under threat of, offending Hamas or not being in alignment with the expectations of Hamas and stuff like that.
Hamas serve those parties, and Iran pays them close to $1 billion annually. Iran is the real master in this picture. Hamas does not serve the Palestinian people. Hamas serve Iran. Those are the masters of Hamas. So their lie about nationalism, that they are a national movement and they care for the Palestinian people, look at them. They are using Palestinian people as a human shield. We need to free Gaza from Hamas. This is what Israel is doing. It's doing the Palestinian people the greatest favor by bringing Hamas down. Then the Palestinian people, they just want to live a normal life. They don't want missiles in the most populated area on earth to be launched from under hospitals, from crowded areas, and going suicidal and endangering the life of the entire population of Gaza. Who does that? You've got to be insane to do such an operation.
Right.
And
you're talking about your family that your family used to believe that, and you used to believe that was okay, but you don't. Musab, now, quick exit question. Around the globe, and even in our capital, people are protesting for Hamas. They're saying...
Whoa, critical question here. It must feel really... I mean, I feel embarrassed and furious and weird when I see idiotic, stupid people in the West engage in basically pro-Hamas protests. I really wonder how this guy feels. The son of Hamas leader, former Hamas member. I really wonder how this guy feels when he sees stupid people in the West engage in pro-Hamas protests.
But for the Israel to back off and stop with the airstrikes, well, what do you say to those protesters? What is it about their mindset?
Okay, listen, I cannot convince the entire world of truth. Right now, people are emotional. They hate to see children dying. Even though, Hamas is killing the people at the hospital and we have evidence of that, but they still blame Israel. People can blame whoever they want. But now we have to concentrate. We have to focus. Public opinion is very important, but unfortunately, it's.
You know what's so funny to me? So these guys are supposedly Jewish protesters who want Israel to stop, and they say, "I am a Jew, not in my name." And when I see this stuff, no offense, but you know what I think? I think, how exactly does an American liberal secular Jew have any have more to say about what Israel should do than I do, for example? Being a Jew doesn't mean that you have somehow, you know, that your voice is more important, or that Israel should listen to you, or anything like that. Being an American Jew means that you are an American Jew, especially if you are a liberal Jew in America. That means you are a liberal Jew in America. There are some photos of these guys, like of some actual Jews mocking these guys, because many of them were like wearing religious Jewish things in a completely wrong way. But hey, this is just what I think, and I feel like, how can I say this without sounding completely offensive here? But seriously, if you are an American Jew and you say, "As a Jew, I stand with Palestine," nobody cares if you're a Jew. Nobody cares. Being a Jew doesn't mean that you are naturally now, in charge of Israel, or that you have more a right to what happens in Israel than I do. You're American. Be quiet.
It's not the time to win the public opinion. It's the time to win the war against the most brutal terrorist organization living today. And later on, when people look back at the situation, they will understand what we were doing. We should not be afraid of the public opinion. We have to explain as much as we can.
And you're doing
but
that.
Now we have to concentrate on our goals.
And Musab, that's why your perspective is so vital and you're unique. You grew up in the Hamas family, you broke from it, and now you're speaking to stop it. Musab Hassan Youssef, thanks so much for what you're doing. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian.
Great to see you.
Fantastic. I love this guy. I hope I can talk to him one day. I wish I could talk to him right now. That would be nice. That would be very nice. Very, very nice. Oh yeah, I saw a photo of some guy walking around and blowing the shofar in in the wrong way, and also wearing that thing, that whatever you call it. He was wearing that thing, that cloth, as a cape, as if he was a superhero, which is just not the way to do it. It's like so disrespectful. And then these guys are like, "I'm Jewish and I'm against what Israel is doing." Apparently, you don't even know. Yeah, the prayer shawl. The prayer shawl. What's a shofar? Said somebody. A shofar is the thing. The horn. Is it a horn? Yeah, it is an ancient here. This is the shofar. This. That's it. All right. I wanted to talk about something here, which is, I feel like, given everything that we have just heard, everything that we talked about, everything that we listened to, and given that we expose what Hamas is and what they actually believe in, and that they don't believe in freedom, that they don't care about the Palestinian people, it would be a little bit problematic to talk about, but I quickly want to show a survey of Palestinians. Injuries reported amid clashes in occupied West Bank, Palestinian Red Crescent said. Some people say there is no Hamas in the West Bank, so why is there fighting in the West Bank? Which is weird. Hamas is not in charge in the West Bank, but that doesn't mean there is no Hamas in the West Bank. There is. There are spokespeople. There are operators of Hamas in the West Bank. Video shows extent of damage to Greek Orthodox Church campus. Where, bro? Give me footage. Where? Can't even see it. Where is it? I want to see it. The building is still standing as far as I can see. Inside the building, about 150 people, old, young, children, babies. Then all these people are under ruins. It's unbelievable, unbelievable. What's the reason? Why is this so? In the war, there is no why. They are in our prayers. I think one person or two people died or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. So I wanted to bring up this research here. This research, which was conducted, the latest was conducted in 2020 by the Washington Institute and the Palestinian Palestinian PCPO. What is that? Palestinian Center for Policy and Survey. No, Palestinian Center for Public Opinion. Okay, that's it. This was conducted, and as part of this research, this whole thing is very interesting. I mean, we could go through the entire research if we wanted to, but here is one of these questions. It says, if the Palestinian leadership is able to negotiate a two-state solution with Israel, do you think that this should be the end of the conflict, or that resistance should continue until all of historic Palestine is liberated? And you have the different results, the different responses that people give. Here is the West Bank respondents. You see, in 2020, 11% say no opinion or don't give an answer. 62% say resistance should continue until all of historic Palestine is liberated, which means the removal of Israel entirely, so that all of the region of Palestine belongs to the Arabs and becomes one Arab Islamic country, or one Arab country. Islamic is not specified here. Only 26% say this should be the end of the conflict with Israel. So, to make it clearer, what this means is the question is, if you guys, if the Palestinian authorities in charge of you reach an agreement and do indeed establish a two-state solution, should that be the end of this conflict, or should the conflict continue until all of Palestine is taken from the Israelis? And 62% of those responding in the West Bank said it should continue until all of it is taken. This is a problem. This is problematic. This means that there is no hope for peace here. This means that it is not just a resistance to what is happening. This means it's not just Hamas. This means that there is a majority of people, even in the West Bank, in fact, more in the West Bank than in Gaza, surprisingly, who say that the fighting should continue until all of it is taken back. So a two-state solution would not even be enough to most of these people. You see how that is a problem, right? When it comes to the Gaza Strip, the same question is asked in Gaza. Again, if the Palestinian leadership is able to negotiate a two-state solution with Israel, do you think that this should be the end of the conflict, or that resistance should continue until all of historic Palestine is liberated? 58% say continue until all of it is taken. 40% say this should be the end of the conflict. This was actually a surprise for me, that in the West Bank, fewer people say we should stop after a two-state solution. More people say we should continue until all of it is ours. Whereas in Gaza, it seems a little bit more optimistic. In the West Bank, only 26% say we should stop once we reach a two-state solution. In Gaza, 40% say we should stop once we reach that conclusion. I kind of expected the opposite. I expected the Gazan people to be more radical about wanting all of the land. But maybe since the population of Gaza lives under much worse conditions than the population in the West Bank, and maybe since Gaza is under Hamas rule, which is a cruel, messed up rule, the Gazans have more a desire for peace than the people in the West Bank. And more of them say, how about we just reach a two-state solution and then we stop? No more of this. But yeah, the point still stands. The problem is that the majority of people don't think that this should end after a two-state solution. they think it should continue until all of it is Palestinian and Israel is gone. And that's just sad. That's just sad. When I say stuff like this in public, lots of people are like, no, you're lying. This is all just about oppression. If Israel just, stopped this and that, then everything would be okay. No. Obviously, you didn't speak to the people themselves. They disagree. They disagree. The very people in question disagree with that. And that is sad. Very, very sad. All right, nothing else that I want to go into at the moment. So we're not going to war. By the way, I saw this. I still don't know what they mean by this. But Greta Thunberg published this video, this photo here, with her friends. One of them says free Wi-Fi. The other one says big justice now. This one says this Jew, that Jew, and hers says stand with legs. I still have no idea what this is supposed to mean. Still trying to figure out. Free Wi-Fi, says this one. Very strange. Very weird. No idea what's going on. All right. All right, then. All right, then. And I just want to reiterate one point. If you care about the people, if you care about the Palestinians, do not support Hamas. Hamas is not the solution. If you support Hamas, then more people will die. Some people say this is edited, photoshopped. Those are very big claims, and shame on you if you're making such a claim. Shame on you. Royal Castriota said, I've heard Hamas is hiding weapons at Al-Aqsa Mosque. Can someone give the coordinates to IDF? I don't know. I don't know if that's even possible for Hamas. I'm not sure about that. The White Trash Panda said, may Allah guide our gypsy prophet Alhamdulillah. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Arabic translated meme said the most likely plan is to displace Palestinians from north to try to South Gaza, give them a buffer, but send the message: you attack, you lose land. Let's see. Let's hope everything goes well. Just a graduate said there is a video of Mossab speaking for Israel in one of the UN Human Rights Council. What he said that day is seen in reality today. I played that video before. It's fantastic. And I would suggest watching it. Go watch it, mate. Go watch it, mate. How about you watch it, mate? No, what's up? Hassan Youssef, speech, UN. Oh, here it is. Shocked UN delegates as PLO abuses exposed by Palestinian hero. You know what? I'm going to play it again because it's so beautiful.
Israel, the occupying power, continues with its colonial policy.
This guy has such a weird voice.
And its daily violations. It continues to abuse, to arbitrarily detain, to carry out ethnic cleansing, steal land and natural resources, uproot trees, steal money, Israeli activity to Judaize Jerusalem, demolition of homes, confiscation of land.
This guy has the very same voice. This is very strange.
And the property spoiling of natural resources.
Racist violations perpetrated by Israel.
Israel continues to commit various forms of human rights violations in Palestine.
Israel, the occupying power, is advancing in its efforts of mass colonization and continued apartheid. Put an end to this colonialist regime.
Apartheid, atrocities and massive destruction inflicted on
this guy too. Something is wrong with his voice. I don't know.
The Palestinian people.
War crimes, crimes against humanity, ethnic cleansing, and state terror.
Thank you. United Nations Watch.
Shukran, Sayyid Rais. I take the floor on behalf of the UN Watch.
Listen to this speech. Listen to this powerful speech.
My name is Mus'ab Hassan Youssef. I grew up in Ramallah as a member of Hamas. I address the words to the Palestinian Authority, which claims to be the sole legitimate representative of the Palestinian people. I ask, where does...
Gedalia said it's a translation of their voices. Please don't gaslight me. It's their actual voice and it's weird.
Your legitimacy come from? The Palestinian people did not elect you and they did not appoint you to represent them. You are self-appointed. Your accountability is not to your own people. This is evidenced by your own total violation for their human rights. In fact, the Palestinian individual and their human development is the least of your concerns. You kidnap Palestinian students from campus and torture them in your jails. You torture your political rivals. The suffering of the Palestinian people is the outcome of your selfish political interest. You are the greatest enemy of the Palestinian people. If Israel did not exist, you would have no one to
Look at these guys.
blame. Take responsibility for the outcome of your own actions.
These guys here are amazed. It's amazing. And the Palestinian Authority guys are like, oh, no, make this stop.
And the flames of conflict to maintain your abusive power. Finally, you use this platform to mislead the international community, to mislead the Palestinian society, to believe that Israel is responsible for the problem you create. Thank you.
Wow, man. This guy is amazing. I don't know. I genuinely, seriously admire this guy. His heroic history, his attitude, his speech, the impact it creates clearly on the room and on the deceptive Palestinian representatives. I don't know, man. This guy's fantastic. Life in Plastic is fantastic. Yes. Human Kirk said not only the reason Arab countries also fear destabilization. Look at Lebanon or Jordan. Millions of hardened terrorists. Who wants that? I know. Yeah, that's the issue as well. They don't want them to have. They don't want major Palestinian populations which would create resistance cells in their own countries as well. Nobody wants that. Sid Dave said Allah will soon run out of virgins. Please don't lie about Allah. Allah is unlimited virgins.
Liar! You're a liar! You're a liar!
Razel D said, my family from Ukraine was murdered by Nazis. Most of the survivors went to Israel. People keep trying to kill us. And that was the entire idea behind creating a state for Jews, right? To escape such pogroms, such oppression once and for all. And yet, again, whenever something happens, we have people around the world basically justifying the brutal massacre of Jewish civilians under the disguise of resistance. I know, I love to have that guy's hair. I know, guys. I agree completely. Lebanon was destroyed by jihad, said Shai. LMAO said villain. I completely agree. The Jester's Window said, AP, when are you going on Destiny's show? I sometimes go randomly to his live streams and start talking. I recently went there when there was a discussion about Israel-Palestine, and it turned into a really loud and angry discussion. So that was interesting. Let's see. Heated confrontation. Like here was, for example, a case. I have where I joined and I talked to.
Palestine. They lived well under the Ottomans.
No.
Forget
the Ottomans. Going back.
Saying is, if you prefer one
That's
over
it.
the other, and you would say, of course, in such a situation, I would pick Palestinian rule, and that the Israelis suffer because the Palestinians suffer right now, then that means you prefer such a state. That means you don't have a problem with suffering altogether.
No, because I engage with the hypothetical doesn't mean my preference would.
This guy's. This guy Corantos is often a guest on Destiny's channel. And he's crazy. He's a lunatic. And relentlessly angry guy who just yells at you. And trying to argue with him is very difficult because he's just yelling at you while you're trying to get across a coherent point. But you know what? It's actually kind of funny. I don't know. I don't have anything against the guy. It's kind of funny. And yes, he creates content. Look at this, 400,000 views in 10 days. Very cool. Thank you, Destiny. Very cool. Yeah, so occasionally, sometimes I go there. Shepherd's Lamb said, did you live in Turkey or grew up in Germany? I think I answered this before, but I grew up in Germany, was born there, and I lived in Turkey after the age of 15 to 16 for 10 or 11 years. And thank you for becoming a member. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome to the club. Alex said, do you know about the old peaceful protests in Gaza? I do. What do you mean, do you know? Well, there have been protests forever, but there were actually some peaceful protest movements before Hamas came into existence by the very same people who created Hamas, who, by the way, were supported at some point by Israel. There is a thing that often goes around. I think I should maybe do a video about this or something. I don't know. Some people say, oh, do you know that Hamas was actually created by Israel? It's a conspiracy. What actually happened is that Hamas, before Hamas was created, it was a Muslim Brotherhood aligned movement that was a charity and social organization which wanted to kind of instill religious feelings and sentiments and unity among the Palestinian people, and they were against secularism, and they were against the PLO, which was at that time the secular terrorist guerrilla movement that was fighting with Israel. And at that time, before that movement, which later turned into Hamas, ever used any violence, before they ever used any weapons, Israel was indeed there, and some officials of Israel thought it a good idea to support that movement, or to at least tolerate them, to at least consider them a good alternative compared to the PLO and the terrorist organizations. Because what they thought is, this movement seems to oppose the PLO and the other groups that we are fighting with, and they are non-violent. They are, aiming for charitable causes and stuff like that. So how about we should, support these guys? How about we prop up these guys instead of those guys? Unfortunately, that didn't go very well later on, because they underestimated the impact of Islam on a movement. So after a while, that movement, due to clashes, due to a perceived oppression, due to their heavy disagreement with secularism, due to their aims for an Islamic society, slowly turned into a violent movement, and eventually turned into Hamas, which literally means Islamic movement organization. Movement Islam. Huh? This is weird. It means Hamas means Harakat al-Mukawwama al-Islamiyya, Islamic organization movement. Yeah, whatever. Turned into that, and they then eventually created a military arm which became worse than all of the secular terrorist organizations. That's what happened. So Israel did not create a terrorist organization like Hamas. This is no conspiracy. Israel supported a movement when they were non-violent, and they then created a terrorist organization and basically bit Israel's hand. One other allegation is that Netanyahu funded Hamas at some point years ago. That is also a misconception. It goes back to a quote that is often cited, where Netanyahu allegedly says that our strategy is to fund Hamas, because the best way to prevent a Palestinian state from coming into existence is, supporting or funding Hamas. That quote comes from an anonymous source and has never been verified. So there is no evidence that he ever said that. But and what Netanyahu did do, and this is actually publicly known, he approved Qatar transferring money over to Gaza into the hands of Hamas, which would, provide their population with things. Most of Israel was against this. They thought, how can we possibly approve this? We are basically approving fundings to the very group that terrorizes us. But Netanyahu's strategy at the time was, let them give money to Hamas so that Hamas doesn't attack us. This will lead to a decrease in terrorist attacks from the side of Hamas. And so Netanyahu didn't fund Hamas. He only approved of money transfers to the authority in Gaza, which is Hamas. And that backfired very badly. Lots of people now blame him for allowing Hamas to become stronger and basically causing the terrorist attack that happened now. Yeah. Lots of people say this is Netanyahu's fault. A lot of people in Israel say Netanyahu is to blame for the suffering that we have experienced. Lots of people say Netanyahu must go. I don't know. The White Trash Panda said, visualize world peace. I agree. Kenny the Matter said, can you clarify what son of Hamas means with using gas? Are we talking tear gas or World War I style chemical warfare? I'm not entirely sure. You might have to ask him. Apparently he's talking about something to take out terrorists who are inside the tunnels, but that's just his opinion. I don't know. King of Corinth said, Sigmund, why do you make that kiki sound with your mouth? Is it a Turkish thing? Plus explain why Turks and Greeks dislike each other, please. Who is Sigmund? I don't know who Sigmund is. I'm not sure. Which kiki sound? Do I make a kiki sound? It's probably a German thing. It's probably a me thing. I don't know. It's probably an ex-Muslim thing. Ex-Muslims often do that. Makes no sense. Explain why Turks and Greeks dislike each other, please. I mean, that just leads back to territorial, religious, nationalist conflicts. Greeks were for centuries in charge of what is today Turkey, of Anatolia. Turks came in. My tongue clicking. I don't know. I just do that for fun. It's kind of a way of. It's like fidgeting. I move my hands and my feet a lot, and also my tongue. I don't know. I guess it's kind of a coping thing for anxiety, for my hyperactivity, to just do something. That's what I do. Yeah. It's definitely a me thing. I don't know. Or it's an ADHD thing. I don't know. But yeah, the disagreement, the disliking between Turks and Greeks leads to the history of the Ottoman Empire or the early Turkish invaders, and then the Ottoman Empire taking Greek land bit by bit, eventually taking Constantinople, eventually occupying and taking over Greece entirely. And then during the beginning of the 20th century, the conflicts of the Greeks taking back Turkish land, the Turkish Republic fighting and expelling Greek people, and so on. It's just an endless struggle that is about nationalism, territory, and all that. So it's a very natural conflict. And Turks and Greek people have a lot of overlap in culture and all of that. And they will often claim that one side is copying or stealing stuff from the other. It's very funny. Not so funny when it leads to fighting. Renewed Heart made a super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Opal Ian said, thanks for starting in a decent time for Europe and Africa. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is good. I actually like doing live streams in the morning. This is kind of fun. Let's see. Any updates from the most reliable source on the internet, CNN? Number of French citizens killed in Hamas attacks rises to 30. At least 30 French citizens have been killed following the Hamas attacks on Israel on October 7, the French Foreign Ministry said Friday. 7 French citizens are still missing, according to the ministry, which said that some of these people are hostages in Gaza without providing further details. We are doing everything we can to secure their release. Oh, you mean this sound, right? Yeah, I do that for hyperactivity. It's funny. I'm not even paying attention to it. Marta M said, "Will you review Hassan on Piers Morgan?" Oh, this is funny. Yesterday, I thought in the morning I should do a review of Hassan Piker on Piers Morgan, and then I completely forgot about it. I watched only a bit of it. I didn't watch the whole thing, and it was painful, to be honest. I actually typed Piers with a CE instead of Piers Morgan. Yeah, look. Oh, I actually watched quite a bit of it, didn't I? I watched 15 minutes of it, and it was I found it quite annoying, to be honest. I don't know if I want to review it right now. I've already been live for 1.5 hours, and normally I don't do 5-hour live streams. I don't know if I should review it now. I might do another live stream where I just title after this and then I review it. But it was annoying. Plus, I don't know why, but
That you can say
Hassan was in a very strange mood. It looked like no sign of friendliness or humor as you can normally see from him. He was just totally like I don't know. He was weird. And he had very stupid arguments. And you know what? I actually talked to David yesterday briefly and said, "Hey, I watched a little bit of the Hassan Piker appearance on Piers Morgan," and he said, "Yeah, I watched it too." And we both agreed, Mohammed Hijab was very bad, very awkward, very strange, very unlikable. But he actually made more sense than Hassan Piker, who was just totally illogical during this whole appearance. He was weird. I don't know. But I might do a review of this later on. I'll see. Royal Castriota said, Albania being called Kufar country by Arabs, LOL. Albanians have been trolling Islamists with pro-Israel signs and flags. Kosovo even opened their embassy in Jerusalem just with Arabs, priceless. Yeah, I didn't really follow the reactions from Albania and Kosovo, but that's the thing. A lot of people in the Muslim world think that just because a population, just because a country seems to have a significant Muslim population or even a majority Muslim population, that they will therefore be just like the Arab Muslims, or that they will be always on the side of the Muslims. It's just not the same thing with populations like these. Albanians are hardly religious. I think most of them are not really proper Muslims. Most of them who are Muslims are not really Muslims. It's a very, it's a culture that was influenced by Islam and by Muslims and taken over, but they don't have much love for it. They are more secular, they live their lives, and very political and nationalistic. Lots of Christians, lots of atheists. They have their own problems. They are problematic for different reasons, like for what some people would describe as severe ultra-nationalism and racism, which I don't want to get into. Arctic Canyon said, "You are standing against grave injustices in the world. May God bless you for what you do." I do sincerely hope so, and I aim for that, and I appreciate that you appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I will take off now. We will go live with David tonight or tomorrow, still trying to decide, and we will review Piers Morgan's episode with that other guy, that comedian, Bassem Youssef. We will review that together with David Wood. As said, I haven't really decided if we should do that tonight or tomorrow. We will see what we do, and I will give an update and schedule that accordingly. And I might later do another live stream, maybe to just look at Hassan Piker here, although I found it very annoying to listen to be honest. In any case, I will see you, and you will see me. unless you don't look at your screen. I don't know. For now, have a fantastic day. And I didn't use enough sounds during this live stream. Maybe I should use something.
You're sitting there watching Netflix.
I don't know. What can I use?
Homosexuality should be fine.
I don't know why I put that on there. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Have a fantastic day for now. And as always, as my dear friend likes to say,
stay away from Islam.